If you're looking for the best graphics card, here's a list you must see. We made this list based on our personal preference and sorted it based on their features, prices, quality, durability, and reputation of the manufacturers, and customer feedback. Also, we have included options for every type of customer. So let's get started. At the 10th position of our list, we have Nvidia GeForce RTX 2080 Ti. The Nvidia 2080 Ti is still one of the fastest graphics cards going, and thus one of the best graphics cards going in some eyes if we were measuring things by sheer power and numbers. Its price tag will still be a hurdle if you can find it, now that the 30 series cards are out, but if stock and availability levels out for those cards, then the price of the remaining 2080 Ti's might drop to some delectable levels. It might struggle to reach the dizzying heights of 4K, but if you want to run games on as high settings as possible and with ray tracing, then this is certainly a card still worth your attention. However, and with little surprises, it's seriously hard to recommend, hard to friend or readers, given you can build quite a competent gaming PC that'll give you years of enjoyment for the cost of this one component if the prices stay the same. Moving on to the next at number 9 with Nvidia GeForce GTX 1660. If you're looking for a modern, entry-level graphics card that provides reasonable performance at a sub $250 price point, the 1660 is the choice for you. Slotting into the space vacated by the GTX 1060 and providing something like 13 to 15% better performance at less cost, the 1660 takes advantage of the Turing architecture implemented in the RTX lineup, but paired with the widely available GDDR5 VRAM. The 1660 is clearly Nvidia's play to get into that golden market below $250, where according to Steam hardware survey results, the vast majority of PC gamers shop. It's a mainstream play, perhaps aimed in part at mitigating the slower than expected sales of the 20 series family, but it delivers exactly what you expect at a price you can live with. The number 8 position is held by AMD Radeon RX 580 8GB. If you have yet to make the leap to a 4K display, spending a tremendous amount of money on an overpowered GPU may seem like an act of excessive decadence. While you're saving cash for a new 4K monitor panel, the $200 the 580 shaves off the price of the next tier of cards is very significant, and AMD's budget option can easily cope with the tail of the 1080p era. For the budget conscious and anyone looking to ensure your PC is keeping pace with current generation consoles, the 580 is a great solution, and its 8GB of GDDR5 is generous in comparison to Nvidia's similarly priced 1060 line overhead that will be greatly appreciated as rendering demands continue to escalate. Next at 7, we have AMD Radeon RX 5600 XT. Although now well and truly in the shadow of Nvidia's 2020 graphics card release in the form of the In the Shadow, the 5600 XT is a fine card to have in your arsenal, and probably the best for 1080p gaming. The card is good on itself by all means, but a firmware update came to boost clock speed and memory performance, which really made the difference, particularly in the face of Nvidia's 2060 having a price cut. Because not all that 5600 XT cards got this bump, it's worth doing some homework before committing. It's worth checking the download section for any card you're looking at to see if it's had the BIOS update to 40 gigabits per second and higher GPU frequencies before you drop your cash. The number 6 position is held by Nvidia GeForce RTX 2060 Super. The tip of the spear alongside the 2070 Super, the RTX 2070 Super, is the cheapest way to prepare your rig for our ray tracing DLSS enabled future. As well as packing Nvidia's much touted new features, the 2060 Super outperforms the card. The 2060 Super outperforms the card it's meant to replace, the vanilla 2070. It gets you everything packed into the 2070 Super stable, just slightly less of each, But if you're looking to grab a card to handle 1080p and 1440p gaming, the 2060 is the least expensive way to get on board the ray tracing bandwagon. If you have already got a card in the GTX 1070 range, the jump to the 2060 Super might seem premature, especially around launch when they'll be hovering near full price. But if you're looking to step up from a 970 or a lower card, the 2060 Super is your best bet for great performance that will, to some extent, future-proof your setup for the inevitable proliferation of DXR and Vulkan RT. The number 5 position is dominated by AMD Radeon RX 5700 XT. With a dramatic, pro-wrestling style last-second price cut just days before launch, AMD managed to slightly undercut Nvidia's new Super launch by shaving off $50 off the price tag. AMD can now confidently claim their card outperforms the RTX 2060 Super but retails for the same price. Of course, what that kind of marketing jargon leaves out is that the RX 5700 XT lacks the RTX card's ray tracing and tensor cores. It's thus less well suited for games that employ ray tracing or DLSS, though in terms of pure horsepower, it jumps ahead of the 2060 Super by around 5 to 10%. It's also very power efficient as a result of AMD's 7nm processor and the shiny new RDNA architecture. The RX 5700 XT also supports AMD's Radeon image sharpening, which AMD claims will sharpen graphics with almost no performance impact in games that supports it. While at the moment it's more gimmick than feature, if it's adopted more broadly, it could be a way for AMD to mitigate the lack of built-in RT and DLSS support on its parts. Moving on to the next at number 4 with Nvidia GeForce RTX 2080 Super. The brand new RTX 2080 Super is now the best card on the market now in terms of peak performance and price. While it's still an expensive proposition at a retail price of $700, Nvidia isn't charging a Founders Edition tax for this latest refresh, which means it's actually $100 less than its predecessor. While the step-up version, the 2080 Ti, remains more powerful, the additional $400 to $500 isn't worth it for a relatively marginal increase in computing power, especially considering the relatively limited use cases for ray tracing that exist at the moment. While we're seeing more ray-traced games out in the world now, like Wolfenstein Youngblood, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019, and Control, the current pool of games with the DXR or Vulkan RT support remains relatively shallow. The RTX 2080 Super doesn't have any flashy new tricks up its sleeve. Instead, it feels like a mid-generation refresh obviously targeted at taking the wind out of AMD's sails around the launch of Red Team's new RX 5000 series. While it's a counter-marketing success is a matter of much debate, one fact is undeniable. The 2080 Super is the best mainstream graphics card on the market right now, delivering excellent 4K performance for the best price point we've seen thus far for that level of performance. The number 3 position is held by AMD Radeon RX 6800 XT. The new gen offerings from AMD came out the block strong and made a decent ripstone to Nvidia's 30 series cards, with the top pick from Team Red being the RX 6800 XT. It's in the same weight category as the RTX 3080 card and punches back hard. It really does go toe-to-toe with the 3080 on performance, and it too can give 4K gaming a proper go. The RX 6800 XT does actually outpunch the 3080 in some areas, such as the increase in VRAM, and it offers quality 4K performance, and it costs a little bit less than the 3080 too. It's a very tempting package, though it still falls short of its RTX rival due to the latter offering DLSS, excellent ray tracing performance, and slightly better 4K numbers. Worthy of attention and consideration for all high-end gaming PC builds, hands down, this really has thrown the red cat among the green pigeons in the graphics card market now. Next up at number 2, we have Nvidia GeForce RTX 3070. The RTX 3070 caught our eyes as soon as the new 30 series Ampere cards. It's the plucky underdog in the range of 3 big hitters, and so was always going to be outshone. But it also offers some exquisite performance levels at an exquisite price point. It might not share the brand new GDDR6X RAM of its 3080 brother, but it can go toe-to-toe with the top tier 20 series cards in the 2080 Ti. This demonstrates the leap that this generation is offering, and is exaggerated by the fact the 3070 costs a fraction of the price of a 2080 Ti. This really is excellent value for money and represents a great way to finally upgrade and embrace this generation. However, and it's a big shame, you'll have to have good luck in your search as finding one is nigh on impossible now. Just like every hardware launch of recent times. Finally, the number 1 position is dominated by Nvidia GeForce RTX 3080. It was highly anticipated and the hype was real. But the performance of the 3080 is now proof that we are in the time of an exceptional leap in graphic card generations. It batters the 2080 Ti into a relative pulp in terms of sheer gusto, power, and oomph, and costs nearly half the price. It's going to be the darling of any builds, pre-builds, and laptops in the months and years to come, and one of the main reasons why is that it represents the best value for money way into reliably speedy and smoothly ray tracing gaming. Beforehand, you might well have to go for the 2080 Ti if you wanted ray tracing to be enjoyable at any kind of decent frame rate. Now, however, the 3080 makes easy work for combining the two. You might have to rethink some bits of your current build to get one of these bad boys taking over safely and reliably. It's a thirsty card, so a hefty PSU is going to be in order. But this is now the card to beat, and considering what stock levels are like for the rest of the year, the one to try and get or wait for. That's all for today. We upload product review videos every single day, so don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button for the upcoming video notification.